There's a lot going on that map that, or you could just like go to Demon Island and then not have to deal with any of those complications whatsoever.
Demon Island, it's kind of just like the staple at this point. Like if you just want a good, flat, straightforward map, then you go to Demon Island, and you're already seeing them go in. Raydish likely will be leaning on this orb, kind of try to utilize that long range that he has. On the other side, Zack might lean into these guitars, has that opportunity to get stacked up, and right now has to get away from Raydish, who's getting that three-piece.
So one thing that Tazza was talking about specifically with Radish is he's thinking Radish is going to do really well this weekend. One of the main reasons is that orb, because a lot of players don't have matchup experience against orb. Now, North American players might, to a little bit of a degree, when they've run into, I mean, specifically Radish. But like other than that, ooh, nice neutral sig from Radish to clean that one up. He's only about halfway through this stock, but that's going to be Radish with the orb that SAC might not have that much experience playing against. Meanwhile, playing against guitars, I mean, look at the legend choices. Look at the momentum here from Radish.
He is still swinging. He is getting hit after hit. SAC finally finds some damage, but he got knocked into the orange and is going to get bounced away off of that recovery from Radish. He is yet to finish off this stock.
Big slap bouncing off the stage. It's going to cut out some of the momentum from that swing, so it's not going to be a KO. That side air. Of course, SAC is in the orange. Nice pickup with the GC D-Light into the recovery for the KO. SAC doing his best to bring himself back into this one. But of course, it's SAC having to fight Raydish game one, and there's the side heavy. Full stock lead for Raydish.
And what a timing from Raydish on that one. Sidelight stutter for a hot minute, then come in with the haymaker. SAC was busy reeling from the first hit and didn't expect the second one, and that's a full stock advantage for Raydish.
This is huge. Raydish has so much momentum in his favor. He's getting 2-3 hits every time. Meanwhile, SAC is struggling to find a single way in. No D-Light over the corner there as Raydish was coming right over that 90-degree. Barely getting away from that side sig, but the second one makes contact. Neutral sig for a little bit of a celebration. Might be a little bit premature, but still, Raydish has such a massive lead. I don't see him losing this. Again, a little bit premature
He's getting
celebration.
excited. He's definitely trying to throw out those celebratory signatures. It's not too punishing. Like, he's still able to cover that corner and take out SAC in game number one. But you can see he's got a little bit of that, you know, in-person jitters. He's got some excitement going.
Except we don't see it in his face whatsoever. I was wondering if we were going to actually get to see it on the camera. But no, Raydish actually looking pretty calm. Even though you saw those celebrations coming out, he's definitely feeling himself on this one. And, I mean, I don't blame him. His orb is looking immaculate so far right out of the gate. So it's looking, I mean, I don't want to say this, but it's looking like Tazza might know what he's talking about.
That is absurd. Just an insane premise to be putting out there. And SAC with the swap. I said it was the battle of the devotees, but it seems like SAC has changed churches and he's going over to the Shell, or I guess that's the Tezca, for game number 2.
Yeah, since Machete couldn't make it to this tournament, I was thinking like, okay, we're probably not going to see that much Tezca. Like maybe it'll be like a salty switch when you're down 2-0 and like, okay, maybe I'll pick up the boots and I'm only going to play boots. But, oh man, Raydish is still handling SAC so much. I don't know how that didn't make contact, but SAC was able to get through.
But at the same time, SAC, he has no carryover to that Asuri that he was just playing. Raydish actually helps him out there with that GC downlight. Actually does pretty much just a perfect save for SAC, but still has that damage advantage over him. SAC now onto those boots. One of the reasons that people usually pick up the Tezca is to put out those boots damage, but he's back to the gauntlets for the KO. Potential side sig will take him out.
So SAC does have a level 18 Tezca, and his highest level legend, or sorry, his highest level gauntlet legend is going to be a level 56 cross. That is his 6th highest leveled legend. So he has time on the gauntlets. He has a little bit of time on the Tezca as well, and he has a nice little bit of a lead here against Raydish. We're about a minute 20 into this game. SAC is without a weapon. He's going to be looking for that spawn. It's going to be favoring Raydish's side, but he's able to get back to it. There's the gauntlets.
Comes in, throws out the Nair. You know, generally it's like ill-advised to go kind of onto a matched weapon against someone who just beat you so handedly. But at the same time, Raydish isn't really a gauntlets player. Like, he's had great moments with his gauntlets, but more often than not, he's highlighting his orb play.
Nice three-piece there. Again, man, these strings from Raydish are really strong. He's still been able to consistently get them in this game. Not quite as strong as he was last game, but still, you're seeing it continue into this game as well. But SAC starting to figure him out a little bit. If we're talking about some matchup inexperience, I don't know what Raydish has against the Battle Boots. Again, we didn't see too many Battle Boots in North America coming out from those players during the Winter Championship.
Yeah, North America was surprisingly devoid of Battle Boots players. I think Boomy was kind of the only one in the Winter Championship, and Radish clearly got past it because, of course, he won the Winter Championship. But at the same time, SAC coming in, he has that lead over Radish, just barely managing to get the stocks before him.
So one thing that's really interesting that I just saw is Radish's third highest leveled legend is Teska. He has a level 58 Teska, so he could pull this out, get the Teska money match, and he has a lot more experience on this legend than SAC does.
But at the same time, like, does he need to? His Petra's not looking too terrible. He's still staying even with SAC. The only difference is, like, he's not absolutely dominating the way he did in game number 1.
Neutral air into the side air. Would you waited for just a second, then hit the recovery. Radish in the orange. There is a weapon spawn on the field. There's the possibility of boots for SAC. I don't think we're going to see Radish swap whatsoever. There's the swap from SAC.
I love
Edge
the
guard.
decisions. SAC coming in, doesn't active input his side airs because he wants that force as he hits the ground pound. And game 2 goes the way of SAC. He ties it up off the Teska.
So we're seeing relatively even damage between those two, as 567 to 504. So a very close game between these two. It didn't necessarily come down to both players' last hit red, but it was still a much closer game with the potential for Raydish to take that game at any time. SAC maybe getting a little bit more confidence. You've seen him nod his head, so he's feeling good that he was able to take that one back.
Yeah, and I guess here's that opportunity. Do you think Radish is going to make the swap over to the Teska as well, or is he going to stick with the Petra and maybe just try to put out a little bit more orb damage? Because, I mean, that's one of the things that stood out to me for that last game. He stopped getting those big 3, 4, 5 hit extended strings on his orbs.
So since we're in a round-robin format, I think that does give you a little bit more experimentation time, which Raydish may not even need whatsoever, as you're seeing these gauntlets already start up, put out the majority of the damage so far this game. It's going to be gauntlet v gauntlet here for Raydish and SAC, but the ability to experiment with things a little bit more in a round-robin format, because like he could have pulled it out this game and be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to play that the rest of the tournament, and one game in a round-robin format is not as equal to a single game in a double elimination tournament.
Each game, in a lot of ways, again, a little bit more valuable in these round-robin formats because of the way that those tiebreakers can shake out. Good avoidance from Radish, manages to outspace that side signature, which again has that active input, has that ability to throw back and potentially take out.
Edgeguard set up here. It's just going to be that signature. It's the same one every time. We haven't seen too many offstage engagements between these two players. No, neither one has been wanting to risk that. First stock comes in about a minute. So these players are starting to figure each other out a little bit more. They're not throwing quite as many things out. These games are starting to, at least for the first stock, extend a little bit longer as they're each learning about one another's habits.
Yeah, you're starting to see a kind of more even trades, right? You're starting to see like Radish gets a 2-piece, SAC finds a response. You're not seeing, again, those big swings either direction, honestly.
Able to get over to those gauntlets pretty quickly, but Radish put out some solid damage on this second stock of SAC. 1 or 2 more hits, I think SAC is going to be in the orange. Just gets under that. The neutral air missing as well from Raydish. You see him backing up all the way to the left side of the stage, putting a lot of distance between him and SAC. The distance game is definitely going to favor Raydish with that orb.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more range to engage, but at the same time, he's been going for this kind of same dodge over SAC off those sidelights where he's dodging across, and SAC earlier just did a delayed recover to take out Raydish's first stock. I'm curious if he's going to start taking advantage of that again and kind of just delaying a little bit and then punishing.
Same sig again, of course. SAC has seen that so many times, so he's not even going to get close to it. There is enough room on that wall if you're using that signature like right from the main platform like Radish is using. There's plenty of room on that wall to kind of hug the bottom half of it and not get caught.
But we are seeing a little bit of a momentum build come out from Raydish. He managed to add up quite a bit of damage onto SAC, but he needs to finish the stock as SAC has the weapon advantage. He's got the boots, he's got Raydish on the corner, and you see Raydish moving around a little bit more. Doesn't want to get caught by a ground pound the way he did in game number 2.
Now, SAC almost got that stock with that previous hit because it interrupted the recovery of Raydish. The fact that Raydish was able to touch down to the soft platform for just a moment and reset those jumps is probably one of the main reasons he was still living at that point, but SAC is able able to clean it up, we have an even game. And this is, again, what I'm talking about. We're tied even 1-1 in the set. SAC wants to prove himself. He's even on final stock now in this game 3 against the winner of the North American Winter Championship. So this is huge for SAC already out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely amazing performance from SAC. The fact that he's staying so close against the person who won for North America, he's doing very well for himself. And again, it's on these boots. He's adding up this damage.
And it's against a player who knows Tesca. A level 58 Tesca is wild. I'm very surprised almost anybody who is a top player who isn't like Machete and playing that during tournament has that much time on the Tesca. That's so much time.
Yeah, definitely a lot of time put out onto the Tesca. On the other side, SAC, very interesting. He's hit multiple side airs, has not gone for the active input once, does not want to drill kick and chase. Usually you do it at early damage so you can kind of keep that momentum going, but SAC just, he likes those neutral wins. He's kind of playing like an axe or a hammer player where he'll take that damage and he's like, all right, let's reset neutral, we'll go again.
Again, still no major edge guards. You just saw Raydish input the ground pound right against the ground. He probably was hoping he was on the ground. Could throw out that signature again. Nice dodge to get through the side air. Whoa! That is going to KO. And we talked about last game being close, even though it wasn't a last stock red. That game was a last stock red. You're seeing the confidence build. The bucket of confidence of SAC is filling up a little bit more every time. You're seeing a little bit of a nod before. The nod has increased. The velocity of the nod, the distance that the head travels during the nod is increasing.
The frequency and amplitude of the nod wave, like if you had a dot tracking his head, it's just increasing in both factors. And now we're here in game number 4, and there's potential for Radish to start off the round robin phase 0-1. The person who won for North America in the Winter Championship starting off 0-1.
And not only that, but the person who got 5th at the World Championship, Raydish, is down a game in this set against SAC, who got 17th in the World Championship. Still an amazing placement, don't get me wrong, but that's a stark difference between those two players in that tournament that they both attended.
Radish needs to take this one back. Nice down air over the corner. There's the down sig. This is the map that is going to work the best on. These shorter walls that SAC's not able to dip under. He was so good at dipping just low enough on the previous maps. Now he's going to struggle against it.
If we're seeing Radish continue to lock in the Petra like I'm expecting, I would be surprised if we go to Demon Island again. Radish will want to leave that open or pick that as many times. I don't think SAC's going to leave it open, and I think Radish is not going to ban this map whatsoever. And I don't think SAC's going to pick it either way. Because, yeah, that signature over on the corner, okay, one of the few times we've seen the neutral signature. Last time it was in, game 1 as a celebratory move.
Yeah, that time caught SAC just on the edge of it. Radish, of course, he's been playing so much Petra. He knows the ranges, but does get disarmed there. SAC is going to hit the side air and even up the stock count.
You know SAC is ready to grab those battle boots when it's time for KO, because he's been able to hit that combo more than he's even attempted the D-Light recovery on the gauntlets. So his KO options definitely exist way more on the boots than they do on the gauntlets. That's been his main KO tool. That doesn't have to happen super late, like catching a stray side air, but there's the sidelight side air. Raydish might be taking this stock and giving himself a nice lead, and he does.
He's changing up the edge guard. It's no longer just going in, doing the very obvious down zig. Instead, he's kind of sneaking out these just over the corner down airs, that bicycle kick, and catching SAC off guard. And now Radish has a full stock advantage over SAC.
Okay, there's the rare on-stage ground pound from an Orb player. Trying to extend off stage. He gravity canceled that signature. SAC doing his best to bring it back, but he's got a mountain to climb here. I'm thinking based on what we have now, it's probably going to be a game 5, which, hey, first game in the Winter Royale, first set, if we get a game 5, I'm not complaining.
I mean, we very clearly said this is a hyperbolic time chamber of competition. This is the best players in each of their regions, the ones who perform the best at the Winter Championship, and SAC hits the edge guard down like ground pound, and suddenly Radish, he's not out of the woods yet. We're not in the game 5 just yet. Needs a sidelight side air. Might need a little more as well, as SAC not quite in that KO percent.
Over on the edge. Ooh, what a cheeky down air That must have been a perfect down air over the corner where he was like as low as possible for there to still be line of sight and have it not bounce off the main platform. That had to be a perfect orb down air. Even though it didn't make contact, that was a beautiful down air.
And now we're going to game 5. SAC likely gonna stick on the Tezca. I don't think he'll swap back to the Asuri at this point. The Tezca is just looking so much better, specifically against Raydish. But really, like you said at the start of game number 4, I don't think Demon Island is going to be left on the board. So what really is Raydish going to go to? Because Demon Island was the one that like he just has so much more control of.
I didn't quite catch the stages that were still on the board. I know Small Fortress of Lions was on there, and I didn't catch the other ones before they moved into this one. And it doesn't matter ultimately because we are going to the Small Fortress of Lions, and you're going to see a much bigger sidewall there. It's going to be much more comparable to the Apocalypse that we saw earlier. So SAC's going to be able to hug the bottom 50% of that wall, stay away from that signature that Radish was throwing out so often for his edge guard.
Ooh, but he's stuck on this corner. That down sig, again, not going to be full coverage of the walls here on Small Fortress of Lions. Juggling coming out from Radish, but SAC is finding those responses.
Just a single hit from Radish. SAC has been kind of controlling the main ground so far in this game. Radish has been above him a lot, jumping in the air, moving over to the soft platform as well. Nice punish there, just barely got over the side air that came out from SAC.
Down light in air, Radish dodges down, but SAC is not ready for it.
Ooh, he's without a weapon here. Nice down air, bouncing it off the wall. Didn't even need the extended range that that move has. Hit it basically point blank, and that's going to be the first stock. Radish only, I mean, probably less than halfway through his stock at this point, so he's got to be feeling very good as we are in this game 5. So a Radish victory here means he's going to be moving on.
And that was great coverage from Radish. Like, he kind of babysat SAC there and was staying horizontal. Then once SAC started dipping low, you saw all those sweat beads come out, and Radish is like, all right, all I got to do is get this singular hit, deny the wall touch. That's going to be a stock, but SAC back to the boots, getting some damage put out onto Radish in downlight Sair recovery, but that's a side light, so you can't go into the Sair just yet.
Went for the edge guard, and Radish completely backing up. He knows like even a stray hit from the boots at this point could either confirm the stock or at least set up the situation that leads to the stock. So playing reserved here is the right way for Radish to play. Even with that, the dash down heavy, SAC backing up because he knows he's also extremely damaged. So a stray hit could send him out, gives Radish a 2-stock lead, but no, SAC is able to clean that one up. He's going to have to make some serious movement happen here if he wants to find his way back in. Keeping Radish weapon starved was a good way to start. He got one hit, but Radish immediately picked up the orb. And
now SAC has got to be careful. He's got to pick and choose when he goes in because he knows he's in sidelight Sair territory. Hits him with a sidelight, but doesn't find a read off of it. Good spot dodge, but the nair doesn't connect.
If he would have picked up the sidelight there, that probably would have been the KO. That was a good spot dodge, though. Okay, there's 2 hits, 3 hits. He's going to have to find a lot of those because these stray side airs from Radish, basically waking up with those after he gets hit. He could, I mean, you saw him. He was kind of mashing that just because that's all it was going to take to get the KO. And now Radish adding up the pressure, adding up the damage. Already has 50 damage on this final stock from SAC that he just took.
Dude, a confident Radish is a scary Radish. A SAC forced to dodge down to narrowly avoid that down signature. He needs a big play here. He needs a big boots read if he wants to bring this one to final stocks. But right now, Radish is just going to tap away, add up that damage.
Ooh, the signatures have just not been... Gets the interrupt on that. SAC finding his way back in this. He has so much damage. You see him in the red when he got hit. That recovery takes off the top, and in game 5, Radish takes it with a confident victory. Over 200 damage more than SAC. That's a tough first game for SAC, especially because it seemed like he had the confidence. He had the momentum. He was able to come back and tie it up and push it to that game 5 with his Tezca.
Yeah, just that one momentum breaker from Demon Island really just kind of took the wind out of the sails.